In a stunning political development that has sent shockwaves through Washington, Donald Trump has experienced what can only be described as a crushing blow to his influence within the Republican Party. This week, the Senate GOP voted on a new majority leader to take the reins when the new term begins next year, and Trump's ally, Senator Rick Scott of Florida, was utterly rejected. In a decisive turn of events, Trump's carefully crafted political machine failed to sway Senate Republicans who instead chose someone Trump has routinely denounced as weak and ineffective, South Dakota Senator John Thune. This vote isn't just a minor setback, it's a symbolic rejection of Trump's control over the party he once dominated. For years, Trump has had the power to shape the Republican agenda, appoint loyalists to critical positions, and influence the direction of the Senate. But now, with his pick for majority leader humiliated in the first round of voting, Trump's grip on the party is starting to loosen. In this video, we will dive deep into the fallout of this vote, what it means for Trump's future, and how the Republican Party may be heading toward a showdown between Trump loyalists and traditional conservatives. The setup, a crucial leadership test. The moment Donald Trump had been dreading finally arrived this week, his first real test of leadership within the Senate. As the new term approaches, Republicans in the Senate faced a critical decision on who would be the majority leader. Given the stakes, the vote was always going to be a defining moment for Trump, who has been exerting his influence over the party for years. Trump's influence within the GOP has largely been unquestioned, and his ability to demand loyalty from his allies has kept many Republicans in line. But this week, Trump's loyalists were met with a shocking reality. The person Trump had been pushing for the Senate Majority Leader position, Senator Rick Scott, was decisively defeated in the first round of voting. The Florida senator, who had previously served as the chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, NRSC, failed to garner enough support from his fellow senators. Despite Trump's endorsement and the backing of some of his closest allies, including Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, and Tucker Carlson, Scott was not even close to securing the necessary votes. With only a handful of votes in his favor, his candidacy was swiftly crushed, and Trump's hopes of placing a loyalist at the head of the Senate were dashed. Instead, the Senate Republicans elected Senator John Thune of South Dakota as their new majority leader. Thune, whom Trump has frequently described as weak and ineffective, has long been a critic of the former president. Trump has even gone so far as to label Thune a rhino, Republican in name only, accusing him of not fully supporting the party's conservative values. This rejection of Trump's preferred candidate is a massive blow to the former president, who had hoped to solidify his control over the GOP heading into the 2024 election. The backlash against Rick Scott, a sign of Trump's waning influence? Rick Scott's defeat can't be seen as a simple loss. It's a glaring sign that Trump's influence over Senate Republicans is weakening. Despite being one of Trump's most vocal supporters in Congress, Scott could not muster enough votes to secure the majority leader position. This is a clear indication that many Senate Republicans are no longer willing to follow Trump's every command, especially when it comes to leadership decisions within their own ranks. During Scott's tenure as head of the NRSC, the committee faced significant financial struggles. Tens of millions of dollars were unaccounted for, and when Republicans began questioning Scott about the missing funds, he was reportedly on vacation aboard a private yacht in the Mediterranean. This scandal led to Scott's eventual ousting as NRSC chair, a humiliating blow to his reputation within the party. But even though his financial management was under fire, Trump continued to stand by Scott, pushing for his election as Senate Majority Leader. However, Republicans in the Senate were not so loyal. Despite Trump's endorsement, they turned away from Scott in favor of Thune, signaling a deepening divide within the party. It's clear that Trump's once unquestioned influence is now being questioned, as more Republicans are beginning to prioritize their own judgment over the former president's demands. Thune's rise, a triumph for traditional Republicans. The election of John Thune as Senate Majority Leader represents a victory for the more traditional, establishment wing of the Republican Party. Thune, who has served as the Senate's #2 Republican for years, is a staunch conservative but also a pragmatist. He has long been critical of Trump's rhetoric and style of leadership, and his election marks a repudiation of Trump's attempts to reshape the GOP in his own image. Thune's victory over Trump's preferred candidate highlights the tension between Trump's populist base and the traditional Republican establishment. While Trump's loyalists, including figures like Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, and Tucker Carlson, have pushed hard for Rick Scott, Thune's victory proves that there is still a significant faction of Senate Republicans who are unwilling to be controlled by the former president. This marks the beginning of a potentially long-standing rivalry between Trump's camp and the establishment wing of the party, one that could shape the Republican Party's future for years to come. The MAGA movement faces a dilemma. Will Trump's allies fall in line? Despite the defeat of Rick Scott, there is no immediate indication that John Thune will create significant roadblocks for Trump's agenda in the Senate. While Trump has denounced Thune as weak, there's a strong likelihood that, like many other Republicans before him, Thune will fall in line with whatever Trump demands once the pressure mounts. Historically, Republicans have tended to unite behind their party's leadership, even when they have personal disagreements. Thune, who has served in the Senate for over 20 years, is a seasoned politician who knows how to navigate the intricacies of party politics. However, the growing divide between Trump's MAGA movement and the establishment Republicans will be a fascinating dynamic to watch as we approach the 2024 election. Trump's allies, such as Matt Gaetz and Lindsey Graham, have shown their ability to quickly shift their opinions based on political necessity. Just days before Thune's election, Lindsey Graham expressed skepticism about Trump's influence on the Senate, only to fully back Trump's pick in the following days. It's clear that many Republicans, even those who have been outspoken critics of Trump, will fall in line if it benefits their political survival. This lack of resistance may prove to be Trump's greatest asset moving forward. Despite the Senate's rejection of his leadership pick, the reality is that the GOP establishment still depends on Trump's base to win elections. Many Republicans, even those who disagree with his style or rhetoric, are unlikely to take bold stands against Trump for fear of losing the support of his loyal followers. The 2024 election, Trump's influence or traditional Republicans. With the Senate leadership vote behind us, the focus will soon turn to the 2024 election. Trump's loss in the majority leader vote is just one piece of a larger puzzle as he seeks to reclaim the White House. The Republican Party is at a crossroads. Will it continue to follow Trump's populist path, or will it return to its establishment roots, as represented by figures like Thune? The 2024 election will likely be the ultimate test for both Trump and the Republican Party. Trump's influence over the party's future is now uncertain, and the battle for control of the GOP will shape the political landscape for years to come. With new faces like Thune emerging as leaders, it remains to be seen whether Trump can retain his hold on the party, or whether the establishment Republicans will manage to wrest control from his grip. Donald Trump's leadership failure in the Senate's majority leader vote marks a significant turning point in his relationship with the Republican Party. For the first time, Republicans in the Senate have decisively rejected one of Trump's key allies, choosing instead to elevate a leader who has long been critical of the former president. This rejection, while not catastrophic, sends a clear message that Trump's influence is not as powerful as it once was. As we move closer to the 2024 election, the tension between Trump's populist base and the traditional Republican establishment will continue to play out. The Senate's leadership vote was just the beginning of what could be a long and contentious battle for the soul of the Republican Party. Trump's future in the GOP may be uncertain, but one thing is clear. The battle for control of the Senate and the future of the Republican Party is far from over. This dramatic development also serves as a reminder of the shifting dynamics within American politics. The rise of figures like John Thune signals a potential shift away from Trump's divisive rhetoric, but whether the establishment Republicans can hold their ground against the populist forces that have dominated the party remains to be seen.